Ayres. This won't hurt a bit.
You're gonna kill me.
Good night, dear Ayres.
Separated from you, honey, so I came home. And I saw there was a car parked in the driveway to one side, and then there was Geraldine's car out front.
Oh, God, Geraldine, she's hurt. She might be dead.
Did he, shoot her?
I don't know.
And I figured that, something was wrong, so I got the gun from the garage and,
We have to call somebody. We have to call the police or an ambulance.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Skylar Whitney calling. I'm calling from my home. There's been an attempted burglary and a shooting. Please get an ambulance here as soon as you can. Please hurry.
Problem is, how do you tell a wife something like that? That it isn't vital to produce a child in your marriage. I certainly wouldn't love her any the less if we couldn't have one.
Yeah, but you've already got a son.
Yeah, exactly. You see, and Adam could not be any more my son if I were the biological parent. But Nicole seems to think that I want a toddler of my own running around the place. Well, speaking of that, better do some toddling of my own. Nicole should be through in a few minutes. Thank you very much for the coffee, for letting me spend the time of day with you, or night with you.
Ah, what are you talking about? It's my pleasure. You know I don't do much socializing after hours.
Yeah, well, that's your fault.
I know.
You know what, you want to make a late New Year's resolution. Stop spending so much time in this office or in the TCR room or wherever it is you spend those 16-hour days of yours.
I'll do that.
Oh, heck you will. Probably just go on doing exactly as you please and get crabbier and crabbier with every passing day.
My officers wouldn't think that's even possible. They think I've already reached the apex of crabbiness.
Yeah, well, a good woman would take care of that, even a bad one.
Well, I've already had an experience with the bad one. Which reminds me, how is Monticello's newest fun? Mallory.
Chief, it's Stoner. Something's coming I think you ought to know about. It's a homicide and housebreaking all in the same place.
Why would I want to know about it?
Because the place is the Whitney Mansion.
What?
It just came in. There's one person dead, one person injured. The ambulance is on the way.
Who's dead?
Well, the dead man is the would-be burglar, tentatively identified as Albert Slade, a.k.a. Romeo.
Who's wounded?
Well, Mrs. Geraldine Saxon received a head injury. The severity of it is not yet determined.
All right, what about Raven? Was she there?
Oh, Raven's there, all right, but she's fine. That woman
could walk through an avalanche and come out unscratched.
All right, you handling this personally?
Well, Coleman took the squeal, but I'm sure he'd be willing to switch off. Good. I want you on this. Meet me down the garage in 5 minutes. I'm going out there with you.
There's been trouble at the Whitney mansion.
I heard you mention Raven.
Raven's all right. Geraldine Saxon was injured.
Oh, my God, what happened to her?
I don't know. Obviously, she got in the way of a burglar or somebody. The burglar's dead.
I'm coming with you.
I thought you had to meet Nicole.
I'll call her from there.
All right, come on.
Kelly, you ought to turn in.
Hey, Nancy, you're a really easy person to talk to, you know that?
Flattery will get you nowhere.
No, really. Really, you have a special way of listening to someone, like you're really concerned about what they're saying.
Well, I am, as long as I care about the people.
I know I always feel better after having talked to you.
Is there something you'd like to talk about right now?
Well, yeah, I guess there is, but I don't really know how to describe it. I think it's more of a feeling.
Why don't you try?
I don't think that anyone understands the relationship between me and Jody and Gavin and how it wound up.
I see.
Hey, it's too late to get this heavy, Nancy.
No, please. I know that entire experience was difficult for you. You and Jody had meant a good deal to each other for a while.
But you see, you and Mike and Jody and Gavin are all concerned about my feelings. The pain you think I feel.
Because we care about you.
But I don't feel pain. The truth is, I saw a change coming in my relationship with Jody for some time now. And not just because of Gavin.
I see.
So I really have no reason to feel hurt at all.
Well, good. Terrific. I'm glad you feel that way. In fact, I guess I was kind of hoping that was the case.
Well, it is. So everyone can just relax, okay?
Well, just one question.
Of course.
When did things start to change between you and Jody?
Have you ever fallen in love with a man you've never seen? Sounds silly, doesn't it? He was at my father's hospital in Switzerland. Jim? I came to say goodbye. I'll graduate in June.
That seems like 100 years from now.
I'll have holidays in between. I'll be back Easter.
Yeah, but I won't be here.
No, you won't. Well, I guess you're getting pretty excited about getting out of here. Getting those bandages off.
Oh, yeah, you bet I am.
I really don't see how you've stood it all these weeks.
It's because of you. You made it down.
Well, I'm glad I could help. Thought I was a distraction for you.
Oh, Valerie. You've been more to me than that. You know what you've meant to me, don't you?
Well, it's meant the same to me. Having you to be with and to talk to. Especially since my father can hardly find 10 minutes to acknowledge that I'm alive.
You feel very much alive to me. It's terrible, isn't it? To feel the way that I do about a woman, to hold her in my arms and yet not to be able to kiss her.
The bandages will come off in 2 weeks for good.
Yeah. You won't be here in 2 weeks to kiss.
Where will you be? What are you going to do?
Oh, I'll go away. I don't know where. so long. I don't really know where home is.
Will you write to me? You know where my home is.
Yeah,
Promise.
I promise.
And send me a picture. I want to know what you look like. It would be awful to meet you on the street and not recognize you.
Well, you might not like the face under these bandages.
I like the man under those bandages. I'm sure I'll like the face, too. Jim, promise me. You won't forget.
I won't forget, darling. Don't worry about that. I won't forget. I promise.
Valerie, people don't always keep their promises.
Honey, listen, why don't you go upstairs and rest now? I mean, you're practically in a state of shock. Now, they're going to be here soon. They're going to be asking a lot of questions. So why don't you go and lay down? And it's going to be quite an ordeal.
Can I go upstairs and hide under the covers? I thought I was dead.
Oh, honey, if that had happened to you, if anything had happened to you, I wouldn't want to have lived.
Oh, Sky.
Oh, honey, I've never realized just how important you are to me. You're the most important thing in my whole life.
But I knew I was in trouble when I was talking to April on the telephone, because I knew that someone was downstairs. I had heard this click.
Here, take that.
I heard this click on the telephone. And it was the same sound that happens when someone's on the extension downstairs. And at first I thought it was Chrissy, that she came back for something. But then I turned around and there he was standing there. And he was the very same man that was so nice to me and caught that thief that stole my pocketbook. And I even had a drink with him.
You had a drink with him?
Yes. Oh, God, I feel like such an idiot. I bought him a drink because he was so nice to me, and he got my purse back. And it had all the money that you gave me to go shopping with, and the whole time he just wanted to rob me.
Well, maybe the purse snatching was part of his plan to get your house keys.
Well, I know that, but why did he give me the keys back?
Well, that's obvious, so that you wouldn't be alarmed and you wouldn't take any precautions.
The whole thing got messed up because Geraldine came over. And then he had to hit her over the head. And if anything happens to her, I'll just die.
Honey, if anything happens, it's not your fault. It's my fault. For having left you here alone in this house.
Don't you?
I won't. I promise. I better go downstairs and tell him what's happening.
How bad is it? Was she unconscious when you got here?
Not like a light, Doc, but she's alive. We'll get her into X-ray to find out what's what.
We got a neurologist standing by?
Dr. Peterson's been notified.
Good, that's who I was going to call.
No secondary injuries as far as we could tell, just that knock on her head. It might be enough.
Yeah, well, I'll call Peterson myself in an hour. Tell him this is a very special case. Go on, get out of here.
Let's go, Sam.
He's hit in the midsection.
Yeah, what, shotgun?
Looks like it, both barrels.
Bag the hands and feet just to make sure.
Oh, shit. Dr. Gavin.
Strange, isn't it? A couple of weeks ago, we're having a wedding party here. Now this.
It's, Romeo Slade, all right, Chief. Here's the ID he was carrying.
Okay. Mr. Whitney, do you know Calvin Stoner?
And we've met.
He's in charge of this case. He'll be your police contact.
Gentlemen, well, I'm wondering if it'd be possible to spare my wife any questions this evening. She's had rather a bad time of it.
You look a little pale yourself, Mr. Whitney.
Yeah, well, it's been a kind of rough experience for all of us. I suppose you know I'm the one that did that.
This is your shotgun?
Yeah, it is. I used to hunt, and when we moved in here, I didn't like the idea of keeping a gun in the house, so I've been leaving it in the garage.
Mr. Whitney, we understand you've been out of town. You and your servant, Gunther Wagner.
Yes, where is Gunther?
As far as I know, he's still in Chicago. That's where I left him a couple hours ago.
Isn't that a little odd for you to return and leave your employee behind?
Well, I mean, come to think of it, he may be on a commercial jetliner coming back here now. You see, I decided to come back. I chartered a plane, and it was a nice little jet, but it was a two-seater.
Sounds like you were very anxious to get back.
Yes, I was. See, I had a telephone conversation with my wife, Raven. And she sounded very upset and frightened at being alone in the house, and I began feeling guilty about leaving her, and I'm not ashamed to say, very lonely. We've only been married a few weeks, you know.
Yes, we know.
And so I realized that it was a stupid idea to plan a business trip so soon after our honeymoon, and I felt guilty after having spoken with her and decided to come back.
What made you go into the garage for the gun? What gave you the impression that something was wrong in the house?
If I said that I had a feeling, Detective, would that sound stupid?
No.
Well, I was coming up the driveway, and about halfway up, I noticed there was a reflection in the woods, and it wasn't right. It didn't belong there. And I stopped and I investigated, and there was a car half hidden in the trees. And then by the time I got up to the front of the house, there was another car here in front of
Geraldine's car.
Yeah.
The other one must have been Romeo Slade's, then.
So instead of coming into the house, I stopped at the garage. I got the gun. I just had a feeling that something was wrong. I got to the front door and I pushed it open. And there was a man holding a gun on my wife. That man. And he turned around and I didn't even think about my next actions. I just pulled both triggers. Gentlemen, if it's at all possible, I'd like to spare my wife any questions this evening. Can we do that?
I think we can wait until morning. Of course, we're going to have to talk to you again at some greater length, get a statement out of you. We realize, of course, this is not just simple breaking and entering. This is a homicide. Situations like this, they usually call it justifiable, but...
I've just killed man. I've just taken another man's life. I never thought I'd ever do that.
You apparently saved someone else's life. Isn't a better thing to know that?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
They all go away?
Yeah. Go on.
Good.
Well, listen, you're not going to have to answer any questions, not tonight, anyway. It'll be a lot easier in the daylight.
Is Geraldine okay?
Well, she's probably in the hospital by now. Dr. Kavanaugh said that he'd let me know if there was any news.
Dr. Kavanaugh was here, too?
Yeah, he was here, and Chief Mallory, there was a whole bunch of... Oh, yeah. And the doctor gave me these, the sedatives. He said to calm your nerves and make it easy to sleep if you want.
No, I don't want to take those. I don't want to sleep. I want to breathe and be awake and feel alive.
And you're going to feel alive. And you're going to feel healthy, and you're going to be very happy.
It was a nightmare. And everything was going along pretty well, too. And then it all had to go wrong.
Not anymore, Raven. after tonight, everything is going to be perfect for you. I promise.
Did you see what he did to your study? He saw that it was locked and thought there might be some valuables in there and blew the lock off.
It's okay. Locks can be repaired.
Did you see what he did? Can be repaired?
Yes, it can.
I'm going to take some of the sleeping stuff. There's a lot I would like to forget.
No, you were right, Raven. This is not a time for sleeping. This is a time for talking. See, I've got something I want to talk about, too.
What?
About a man named Jeff. Jeff Brown.
Jeff Brown. The man that died in the plane crash?
Yes, there was someone who died in that plane crash, Raven, but, well, you know more about my friend than you're letting on, don't you?
What do you mean?
You know, when I lived in a hotel, I didn't keep these pictures and papers, memorabilia with me. They were locked up in a warehouse, but when I bought this house, I thought it would be safe to have them with me, that I could keep them locked up here. It was crazy of me to think that I could keep my secret from you, from my own wife. It wasn't hard with Martine or Gunther or dear old Aunt Geraldine. The aunt who isn't really my aunt.
So it's true.
Oh, you knew that, of course. You've known it for a week or so. Ever since you got into my sanctum sanctorum and saw that photograph of me and Jeff. And that shrewd little brain of yours began to click and put two and two together. What was it that finally did it, Raven? Was it the scar?
Yes.
And then you began asking questions. And then you asked more questions. Until finally you knew. You know who I am, don't you, darling?
Well, I didn't know what to do. I love you, and I didn't know who you were.
But you do know who I am. This is me. The man that you married. And you're going to be just fine. You're going to live happily ever after, and you're going to be Mrs. Schuyler Whitney for the rest of your life.